legal definition of a whistleblower is an employee who brings wrongdoing by an employer or other employees to the attention of a government or law enforcement agency, and who is commonly vested by a statute with rights and remedies for retaliation. Eileen Foster, a former high-ranking official at Countrywide Financial and then at Bank of America after its purchase of Countrywide in July of 2008, has been awarded the 2012 Ridenhour Prize for Truth-Telling. This prize is widely considered the highest honor a whistleblower can receive in the United States.
Housing bubble, Countrywide Financial was the largest mortgage lender in the country, and the loans it made were among the worst, a third ending up in foreclosure or default, many because of mortgage fraud.
I came to find out that there was many reports of fraud, as I had suspected, and those were never reported through my group, never reported to the board, never reported to the government while I was there.
And you believe this was intentional?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Foster oversaw an investigation in the summer of 2007 of multiple branches in the Boston area of the subdivision. Investigators found massive evidence that employees had forged borrower signatures, altered and fabricated income and asset documentation, and manipulated the company's automated underwriting and property valuation systems. The investigation was opened after receiving a tip from a former branch employee who had been fired after objecting to the fraudulent practices.
Foster, with the support of her boss, took the information up the corporate chain of command and to the audit department, which confirmed many of her suspicions, but no action was taken. In late 2008, with Countrywide sinking under the weight of its bad loans, it merged with Bank of America. Foster was promoted, and not long afterwards was asked to speak with government regulators to discuss Countrywide's fraud reports. But she was fired before the meeting could take place.
Countrywide Home Loans hired Foster in 2005 as a first vice president overseeing borrower in the corporate office of the president. 9 months after being hired, she was promoted to senior vice president, and in March of 2007 to executive vice president of fraud risk management. While having that role, she supervised 30 to 40 staff members responsible for investigating mortgage origination fraud. Foster was also responsible for reporting fraud and suspicious activity to regulators and the company's board of directors. Foster exposed systemic fraud at Countrywide Financial and the corrupt activities of company officials both pre- and post-purchase. In September of 2008, Bank of America terminated Foster. Later, to find out, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration found that Bank of America was wrong to terminate her, ordering her reinstatement and damages. However, Bank of America appealed that order, and Foster's fight continues with a hearing scheduled in late April. Foster's actions go a long way in dispelling the false belief that it was borrowers lying on their applications, rather than fraud on the part of commission-hungry loan officers that fueled the growth of toxic loans that gave rise to the economic crash.
Did you have any discussions with anybody at Countrywide or Bank of America about what you should say to the federal regulators when they came?
I got a call from an individual who, suggested how I should handle the questions that would be coming from the regulators. Made some suggestions that downplayed the severity of the situation.
And the next day you were terminated. Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems like somebody at Countrywide or Bank of America did not want you to talk to federal regulators.
No, that was part of it. No, they absolutely did not.
Whistleblowing employees directed to report fraud and wrongdoing to employee relations were being transferred, demoted, harassed, or terminated. In March of 2008, 5 employees of a branch in the Consumer Markets Division reported deplorable levels of loan fraud, and in doing so, pleaded with the investigator not to reveal their names to employee relations out of fear of retaliation. By February of 2008, Foster had found equally shocking activities and investigations in Miami, Chicago, Cincinnati, San Diego, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles. Foster believed that Countrywide employee relations and lending managers were colluding to circumvent fraud reporting channels in order to conceal the fraud perpetrated by high-producing loan officers and managers. When Foster asked Countrywide to investigate employee relations, the company not only chose to conceal Foster's allegations from Bank of America, it directed employee relations to investigate Foster. In the meantime, Bank of America was identifying Countrywide employees for roles in the newly merged entity. In July of 2008, after an intense process, Bank of America offered Foster the position of Senior Vice President, Mortgage Fraud Investigations Division Executive. Instead of accepting a payment of almost $228,000 for her silence, Foster wanted to ensure the corrupt practices at Countrywide were exposed and the wrongdoers were held accountable. Foster filed a Sarbanes-Oakley Act whistleblower complaint with the OSHA, challenging the legality of her firing. In September of 2008, the OSHA ruled that Foster had been retaliated against in violation of the Employee Protection Provision of the Sarbanes-Oakley Corporate and Criminal Fraud Accountability Act of 2002. The Department of Labor ordered her reinstatement and $930,000 in damages.